up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy, that dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. Big block engine with 26 inches on the chrome I ride. Started at the bottom, soared to the top and still on the ride. Air handshake solid, see the deal airtight. He gave you the blueprint to grind and get your hustle right. Money in the vision, it was dirty but he washed it clean. Turned a dollar to a dream, now he living like a king. From the late nights grinding to the early bird moves. Ask around the city, he really that dude. He love how we talk it cause he walk it too. Every step calculated, everything come through. From the hood by the views, yeah, the rooftop views. He the bridge between the struggle and the good life views. Never fold under pressure, shine like a diamond in the sun. Every loss was a lesson, every win is hard won. Now the crowd chant his name when he steps in the room. B-Eazy, that dude, yeah, you know he's the truth. B-Eazy, that dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain. B-Eazy, that dude, yeah, they know the name. Stacking up the paper, but having money ain't a thing. Standing on business, burning hotter than a flame. From the block to the ballroom, you gotta stand the rain.
Turn your radios up. Turn your radios up. Y'all know what this is. Y'all know who this is. B-Eazy, that dude, an impromptu stream back with another one. This one is gonna be a banger. Most definitely will be a doozy. Now, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. So I don't like to keep y'all waiting. Before we get this thing started, you know, I gotta hit you.
If you know the song, sing along. Yeah, you're right.
私も地元民。と言っても実は薄暗いです。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶったまんまこっち見ろ。
This promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby moving for me slow mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no ho, no ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread. Forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy, that dude. In the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really indie. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad.
And we are activated. And like I said, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. And we've already been joined by some illustrious guests, none other than Chakra King, What It Did It Do. And we got the illustrious, the prestigious, the prolific Miss Jackie Gaines. She says, hit that like, take heed to what she's saying. And if you're feeling generous, hit the Cash App. So we gonna get right into it. You seen the title, you seen the thumbnail. So what exactly are we talking about? So I'm going to be reacting to a video by the Honorable Tariq Nasheed. This video, you can watch it uninterrupted on his platform, Tariq Radio. The video is titled, Former Nigerian NFL Player Says He Doesn't Like the Term FBA. And just a quick preface to the conversation. There's a delineation movement going on in what I also coin and say the delineation process. It's making many people uncomfortable because they want us to be this stateless, cultureless, undefined, generic African, right? They'll tell you when you're in Africa, no, you're not Africa. You're not African, you're American. Then when you lean into your American and indigenous identity, then they say, no, you don't even know where you're from. You're African. And then you say, where in Africa? Just somewhere over there. You know what I mean? West Africa. Like, how do you know it wasn't East Africa? Well, we just know it was West Africa. You know what I mean? And then you have history, historical records, documents, even oral history of your family building here. Things that you can physically see, things that you know that were tangibly built and distributed here, right? The wars, all the wars that they fought in, your family members are veterans of wars here in America. There's no war that they fought in Africa. There's no war that they fought for Africa, but they want you to hearken back to a time that didn't even exist. It's a time that it's a figment of your imagination. But why do you keep imagining it when you have no proof that the imagined narrative was ever real? I'm sure it was real for someone somewhere, but not this specific group or lineage of people. So everyone understands delineation. Realistically, foundational Black American freedmen are late to the delineation movement, right? They're late to the delineation discussion, the delineation process and procedure. I'm going to add that too. The delineation process and procedure. We're late to it. And now that we're not just this generic African that people could dump their filth on, but not only that, culturally leech, tether, and extract from. Now that we're saying, those days is over. You have to hold your own nuts, hold your own filth, hold your own lineage, and hold your own accomplishments. It should be a beautiful thing since people love to preach about accountability. So delineation is specificity. Disaggregation is accountability and awareness, right? So let's just get right into the video.
But what is, like, hey, how do we separate is the most FBA? Because I think it is the most separatist term coined back in 2019 by
was it Tariq Nasheed?
Tariq, I know Tariq. And Tariq Nasheed coined this term, and maybe he had good intent because it's like, hey, how do we separate when it comes to reparations and being able to say, hey, this belonged to the Black slaves that came to America and their descendants. And I get that. I get and understand that concept. But what it does, it furthers this idea of separation. And I think back again to childhood and the stuff that even as an adult, like, I'm not African. I'm anything but African, right? I got Indian in my blood. I'm Creole. I'm anything but African. And so when you say foundationally Black American, it's like, yes, I can say I'm foundationally Black American and I am not you. I'm like, no. Because like my father used to tell me, I don't know what all these fuss is about. They are the same people. You guys are brothers.
To be honest, sometimes I actually have no idea what's going on until I open Monday.com and boom,
And they're like, my dad said, y'all, bro, man, we ain't your brother. We ain't African booty scratchers. No, but we look alike. No.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right, cool.
Well, this I'm still working on Hidden Color 6. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody can get involved with Hidden Color 6.
Okay, so I played the video. I let him say what he had to say in full. And if you want to watch the full video, which Tariq just played a clip of, I believe you can watch the full video on some channel called 154 Africa. Now, Godfrey will occasionally say some funny stuff, and Godfrey will stand up and stand for foundational Black Americans. He understands the delineation process and procedure. He, of all people, understands this because Godfrey is Nigerian. So he knows that there is a ethnic and cultural distinction, which there's nothing wrong with. So if there's nothing wrong with being ethnically and culturally different, why is there an issue to say that and point that distinction out, right? Who does that benefit? Who does it benefit for us to be culturally erased, for us to be culturally oppressed and say that you guys have no culture while you're watching in real time people mimic and steal to imitate your culture, to replicate your culture and say, no, this ain't really your culture. I remixed it and it's something entirely different. Like, you know, you can't say we got it from you when we're like, bruh, I literally taught you how to do that, right? So we're just supposed to shut up while everyone steals our culture and could just immigrate. You can't just immigrate into a lineage. You know, you can't just immigrate into a culture. You can participate and be a part of a culture, but, you know, you can't immigrate into a culture.
Darling Radio, like and subscribe. Darling Radio, like and subscribe.
I want to talk about this because there's this term that I know people are not going to like this, but I don't like the term FBA because I think it is the most separatist.
First of all, it doesn't matter what you think because the term wasn't created for you. You're not part of this lineage or ethnic group. So intellectual sovereignty, cultural and ethnic sovereignty belongs to that group. You are not part of this specific group. It doesn't mean that this group is better than you. It means that you're not a part of that group to try to have some sort of authority over that group and say what you don't like and what they should call themselves, right? It's just like someone being Seminole and say, you know what, I don't really like the term Choctaw. We all Native American, we all indigenous, we all Indians, red Indians, blase, right? It's not up to Seminole to determine the cultural practices and customs of the Cherokee Nation. It's not up to the Cherokee Nation to determine what the Navajo Indians are doing, right? Just as well as it's not up to someone from Nigeria to determine what Ghanaians want to do with their ethnic and cultural sovereignty. So on, so forth. Why do you think there's a Chinatown? It's not called Asia Town. Sure, you can go there and shop, but they're saying, yeah, it's going to be ethnically preserved as a Chinese functioning, operating, and representation of Chinese culture, right? Not just generic Asian culture. Koreans are Asian, but they have a separate Koreatown. You know, even now they're having some places where they have Filipino town, et cetera, right? They're all Asian. Why won't they come together, live next to each other, and just make one big Asian town? Nobody cares about their delineation. No one cares about them being ethnically different because they'll acknowledge. Tell a Chinese person that you're no different than a Filipino because you're Asian. Go tell a Cambodian that you're no different than a person from Thailand, right? See the response you get. And with this dude, he wants to pretend as if we're all one, but on the continent that he descends from, they're not all one. They come over here and do this pretend thing that we all black because we have the same skin pigment, and some of us may have some similar phenotypical features. We have to pretend as if we're all the same and we all just get along. Okay.
Term coined back in 2019 by
Was it Tariq Nasheed? Tariq, I know Tariq.
And Tariq Nasheed coined this term, and maybe he had good intent because it's like, hey, how do we separate when it comes to reparations and being able to say, hey, this belonged to the black slaves that came to America and their descendants. And I get that. I get and understand that concept. But what it does, it furthers this idea of separation. Yeah. And I think back again to childhood and the stuff that
he said it furthered this idea of separation. What idea of separation? I mean, we were already separated. Whenever they bring immigrants of any ethnic or cultural background to America, guess which neighborhoods they dump them in, right? So we've been around all immigrants. We've accepted all immigrants. Even if someone gets roasted, if we will clown our own mama, some people will clown their own mama, sister, and brother. So why wouldn't you clown someone from a different lineage, a different background? And most of the times, 99% of the times, people weren't being picked on because, hey, you know, you're of a different race or a different ethnicity. No, people will find anything that they know will trigger you. That's the whole point of roasting someone, right? If, you know, if you got a bunch of muscles, you know, people will find a satirical way to roast you on that. But if you walk bow-legged, people are going to attack that you walk bow-legged more so like, okay, cool. He got muscles, but he's bow-legged. Let me attack that. So, you know, if you're smart and then it's like, oh, you got a funny accent, no one is going to attack how smart you are. They're going to attack your funny accent, not just because it's xenophobia or they're attacking you for being an immigrant. It's just people pick on those things. There were people in wheelchairs that got clowned on. So if disabled people, anybody could get it, right? And people come from homelands where people are not just roasting each other with words. People are throwing rocks at each other. It gets extremely violent. People will say words are not violent. Yes, I get it. The rhetoric makes you feel uncomfortable. But how uncomfortable you think we've been? We've been called niggers, hardy R's all of our life. Kids as well, being segregated. You know what I mean? All of these things, they weren't writing no Africans allowed, no immigrants allowed. They were saying no niggers allowed, no blacks allowed, right? So people, you immigrated into this, but you can't immigrate into a struggle. You immigrate and we're told about the struggle. And then you're trying to say, oh, it was the same. When the cops pull us over, that doesn't matter, right? When the cops pull over a Japanese person, they may not know if he's a Chinese person or a Japanese person. It doesn't make a Japanese person Chinese just because the cop didn't know what ethnic Asian he was pulling over.
And maybe he had good intent because it's like, hey, how do we separate when it comes to reparations and being able to say, hey, this belonged to the black slaves that came to America and their descendants. And I get that. I get and understand that concept. But what it does, it furthers this idea of separation. Yeah. And I think back again to childhood and the stuff that even as an adult, like I'm not.
He said he thinks back to childhood. Nigga, why are you thinking back to childhood? You're almost 50 years old, bruh. I mean, why, you know, they tell us to get over everything, but this dude is still thinking back to childhood when he's almost 50 years old. Like, bruh, he was an NFL player. So you've succeeded in life despite whatever you're whining about in childhood, but he's still going back to it, making it seem like it really has some sort of deleterious effects on his life. Like, you're not a victim, bro.
African, I'm anything but African, right? I got Indian in my blood. I'm Creole. I'm anything but African.
Why is he saying it like that? I got Indian in my blood. I'm Creole. Some people do. Many people are indigenous. Not everyone came from Africa. It was just mathematically, scientifically impossible. They've lied about so much other stuff, but you think they were just 100% accurate about that. And they've already reported that only 3% of the enslaved people in the transatlantic slave trade made it to the North American shores. Only 3%, right? So when people say I'm not African, no, they're not African. They're not. First of all, they're not continental African. And then they say, yeah, but you're of African descent. Yeah, you can say that all the time. Palestinians don't go around calling themselves African. Yeah, they're North African. Yeah, but you keep saying that word again. African, right? Do you see Palestinians and Lebanese people and Middle Eastern people going around talking about how African they are? They're more African than me. Look up the term ethnogenesis. If you too lazy to look it up, I'll give you the layman's definition. Right? Basically, once you're on a particular land and have particular circumstances, and you have been amalgamated and mated and unfortunately bred like cattle with other ethnic and racial groups, that creates an entirely different culture and ethnic group. So foundational Black Americans are an amalgamation of formerly enslaved African and other melanated Negro descendants, indigenous people, and European. Now, the mixture varies, right? Some may have 30% European, some may have 17% European and 20% indigenous. Some people may have 60% indigenous, vice versa. But that's the whole thing about a foundational Black American. We don't get down into the pseudoscience one drops. If you just meet some of these criterias, fine. As long as you've also been identifying as foundational Black American for decades, formerly known as African American. But that term right there is too nebulous and it's too broad and it's not distinct and specific enough. It used to be distinct and specific, but then there were open borders and it's been a massive influx of immigrants where you can't tell who's who. And some want to convince you that it doesn't matter because of our skin tone, but they don't keep the same energy. Japanese people and Chinese people have the same skin tone, but it matters about their ethnic and national distinction. It should matter if there's a person from Senegal, just like there was the Senegalese terrorist suspected sleeper cell agent. He went and shot up multiple people, but he unalived 3 people in an Austin bar. We're supposed to say, hey, he's Black just like us. No, he's a Senegalese immigrant who didn't grow up like us. I'm not saying he needs to be disparaged or demeaned simply because of his ethnic background, but to pretend it as if it's the same lineage just based on melanin, that's imbecilic.
The Black slaves that came to America and their descendants. And I get that. I get and understand that concept. But what it does, it furthers this idea of separation. Yeah. And I think back again to childhood and the stuff that even as an adult, like, I'm not African. I'm anything but African, right? I got Indian in my blood. I'm Creole. I'm anything but African. And so when you say foundationally Black American, it's like, yes, I can say I'm foundationally Black American and I am not you. I'm like, no, because like my father.
But I'm not you. So why would I pretend that I'm you? See, people want to claim our cultural accomplishments to say that we're the same, but I can't really say that I'm this. I don't know what it's like to be Nigerian. I don't know really anything about Nigerian culture. I'm sure that it's a rich and beautiful culture, but I want to learn from Nigerians. How do I learn from Nigerians about Nigerian culture? I need to separate and disaggregate the data. I need to say this is distinction and this is specificity. This is Nigerian culture, this type of garb, this type of food, this type of lingo, and this is foundational Black American culture. Since we are accepting and unfortunately too inclusive, you can participate in our culture, you can contribute to our culture and help make it greater. But a contribution is not a creation. We shouldn't be trying to do this whole flat blackness thing and just collapse everything and say, hey, you know, your ancestors stood on business. And since we have the same skin pigment, that means my ancestors stood on business. No, your ancestors were a lot of tap dancing sellouts and tethers. Many of you come from ancestors who are corrupt leaders who were slave masters, right? Not everyone just comes from a lineage of enslaved people. There were slave masters as well, right? And shout out to FBA Strong. Salute to you. And yes, you know, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time.
So tell me, I don't know what all these fuss is about. They are the same people.
Hold on, let me play this and then I'm gonna get into it.
I can say I'm foundational Black American and I am not you. I'm like, no. Because like my father used to tell me, I don't know what all these fuss is about. They are the same people. You guys are brothers.
Yeah.
And they're like,
maybe his dad did say that, but to me, it sounds like he was lying. Why would his dad say they are the same people? First of all, he spoke in that accent. We don't have accents like that. So that already lets you know that we're different, right? Not saying that someone is better because they don't speak with an accent, because many of us do have accents, whether it be from California, where I'm from, whether it be from H-Town, whether it be from Florida, you know what I mean? Whether it be from New Orleans, I mean, we all have different accents. So this isn't about that, but that's what makes it different, right? If you tell a H-Town person that, man, you sound just like you from Texas, you know what I mean? I mean, you sound just like you from Florida. They're going to be like, nah, not really. We got a different accents. So we appreciate the differences. We don't try to collapse them to all be the same. We understand, you know, the distinctions, but he's over here lying, saying that his dad saying that we were all the same. In Nigeria, it's reported to have 371 tribes in Nigeria alone. Does that sound united to you? The reason why they can't get on code, and look, let me pull this up in real time, you know, because like I said, I won't be here for a long time, but it will be a strong time. And I actually have less time than predicted. So let me at least pull this up so we can give some level of scholarship. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world. Y'all chose to be here with me, at least momentarily. And for that, I thank you. So y'all can see right here, right? Give me uno momento. Hold up. Bam. Different sources give slightly different totals because Nigeria's ethnic landscape is extremely complex with many subgroups, dialect clusters, and overlapping identities. 371 tribes. Comprehensive demographic listing placed the number at 371. So basically they say that there's between 250 to 371 different tribes in Nigeria. And here you have this Nigerian dude saying, I don't like the term FBA, nigga. You're being divisive. Why are you trying to separate? Like, bro, you came from a homeland that's extremely divided. And if you tell them now, like, why won't y'all just stop with all these tribes? Why won't y'all just be one Nigerian people? See, he's trying to collapse us all into one big global Negro. Nigerians are the same as FBA and Senegalese and Ghanaians. There's no difference. We're all the same. We all descend from the motherland. I don't descend from there. Yes, you do, nigga. And then your family has been here for centuries, multiple centuries, some even further than that, but centuries is enough. Nigeria isn't even centuries old, but he's trying to convince you that you're from there. And let's just say I was from there. Where would I fit in? Which one of those 370 plus tribes would I fit in? Over these groups, there's over 500 languages spoken. Does this sound united to you? How are we going to unite when we can't even speak the same language? You're right next to your neighbor. He looks like you. However, y'all can't build because you don't speak the same language. That seems pretty separate to me, right? Hold on. There's more. The three largest ethnic groups, Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo, make up roughly 70% of the population, while the remaining tribes represent a rich mosaic of smaller communities. So why do tribal conflicts occur in Nigeria? One, competition over land and resources. Many conflicts stem from disputes over farmland, grazing routes, water access, and mineral-rich territories. As populations grow and climate pressures intensify, competition becomes more severe. Two, colonial era boundaries and historical grievances. British colonial rule grouped diverse ethnic groups into a single state without resolving pre-existing rivalries. These unresolved tensions still influence local and regional politics. So the Western powers and colonial crusaders, they help incite these conflicts because these tribal beefs help keep the country and the continent destabilized, which makes it ripe for exploitation and for the white savior syndrome to reign supreme. So they destabilize it and then they say, hey, look, we starved you out and now we come with some grain. So look at us as the savior. You know what I mean? You guys were beating yourselves over the head with bushmeat and here we come to save the day. We're white mommy and daddy, so give us access to all of your resources, right? Number three, political power struggles. Nigeria's political system often distributes power and resources along ethnic lines. And here you have a Nigerian who, this is where his family fled and immigrated from. And he wants to pretend as if they came over here to be all united with us when he comes from a homeland where no one is united. And if they are united, it's united on ethnic lines. If somebody was willing to uplift and bring Nigeria out of the rut that it's in and bring it to the pinnacle of global prominence, if they weren't of the tribe that they approved from, then they wouldn't vote for him. They'll vote for a corrupt leader so long as he's from their tribe. This is not only identity politics, it's toxic identity politics. So this creates feelings of marginalization, a zero-sum competition for government positions, and regional rivalries. If someone knows that, hey, I'm of the Fulani tribe and this person is Igbo and they're jockeying for position to help maintain the Igbo dominance, I'm going to be working, plotting, employing, scheming to somehow increase my stake of political power as a separate tribe. And there's going to be some outside group that says, hey, I'm a neutral arbiter, right? I'm here to help you guys while they rob them blind, right? And these people come over here, fly the flags with their tribal differences and act like, why can't we act like we're the same? How about you practice this in your homeland first? So economic inequality and poverty, when communities feel excluded from economic opportunities or development, ethnic identity becomes a rallying point for grievances. So when Nigeria is poor, they're not rallying Nigerians based on economic advancement and development. They're rallying their specific ethnic identity, right? We want Yoruba excellence. Yeah, they'll say overall that they want to see Nigeria rise to prominence, but it's only at the expense of it being a Yoruba person at the helm or an Igbo person at the helm. Quite pathetic. Number 5, religious differences intertwined with ethnicity. And some people, whether they're Christian or Muslim, they see them being Christian or Muslim before their tribe, then their tribe. So they'll go with their religious identity, then their tribe, then their nationality, then the continent, And then blackness is on like fifth on the list. We lead with blackness and they come over here and blackness is just whatever, you know what I mean? It's like fifth on their list. So yeah, how are we going to unite with that again? You guys have some introspection to do just as well as we need to. We're not a perfect group. People hear it all the time. Didn't do nothing. 1350s. You guys are failing at this, failing at that. Fine. That means that we need to focus on our specific ethnic group to overcome and mitigate the failures. Number 6, farmer-herder conflicts. One of the most persistent forms of conflict involves nomadic herders and settled farming communities driven by desertification pushing herders south, crop destruction of cattle, lack of formal grazing routes. So there's not formal grazing routes in terms of the infrastructure of the roads built and signage to get safely and efficiently back to and fro from a destination. Not only that, because of the ethnic and tribal beef, they will destroy cattle and other food supplies just to sabotage another ethnic group. And I can go on and on. And the last one I'll touch on is number 7, weak governance and security gaps, slow conflict response, corruption, and limited law enforcement capacity allow local disputes to escalate into violence. When they escalate into violence, some people just come and pick the body up, and they don't really have a robust ambulance system. They don't have a robust information and data gathering system. Y'all saw what happened when Anthony Joshua, he is a British and Nigerian boxer. He knocked out Jake Paul, or one of the Paul brothers, right? He knocked him out, and he wanted to go celebrate in the motherland, and some idiotic driver crashed into him, and in the crash there were 2 fatalities. It was Anthony Joshua's trainer and his best friends. So he had to watch his best friends die and bleed out because some idiot, there's not a lot of infrastructure on the road, not stop signs, people are not yielding, respecting the laws and pedestrians and stuff. Then luckily Anthony Joshua was a straight warrior. Where was the ambulance for him? Like, the ambulance took hours. They had no ambulance. So it just showed how desolate many parts of the world are, and specifically many parts of Nigeria. And I'm not saying this to demean, to ridicule, or denigrate, but what I'm saying is there's many people of their educated, Bantu Boule class, right? The Bantu Boule, right? As many of them, they come over here and they fly the flag. We got so much more degrees than y'all. We doing better than y'all. And they are helping to complete the brain drain. All of the most prominent Nigerians, the most brilliant minds that can help lead Nigeria back to the promised land, they're all fleeing to come to America to compete with FBAs and say, y'all got baby mama culture. I'm like, have you seen what's going on in Nigeria? They talk about black on black crime. It's like, it's a bunch of black African Nigerians killing other black African Nigerians, right? That's African on African crime. Like, but why are we trying to devolve the situation just like that? It's an impoverished area, right? There's a lot of rampant corruption. I'm not going to blame the rank and file citizens. I'm going to blame the people at the top. If it's a failed state, it's not the people at the bottom that caused it to fail. Now, you can blame them for their own individual, either irresponsible behavior, incompetence, whatever it may be. But ultimately, the buck has to stop with someone, and that's the leadership, right? If you're on playing for a football team, you're going to blame the quarterback, not that the crowd didn't cheer loud enough for you, not that the cheerleaders didn't twerk hard enough and do enough flips for you. Bro, you were on the field. Even, you can blame the coach, but the coach gets some level of blame. There's enough blame to go around collectively. I call it blame pie. But some people get bigger slices of that blame pie. Some people only get a little bit of sliver, right? Okay, yeah, they were complicit. They were culpable, but they only get a little bit of culpability. You, however, especially the people who claim to have a superior culture and claim to be higher IQ, then that means I have to hold you to a higher standard based on your alleged superior IQ. Let's get back into the video. Give me one moment. I'm going to pull this down. Hold up.
My dad said, y'all, man, we ain't your brother. We ain't African booty scratchers. No,
Yeah.
But we look alike. No.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right, cool.
Well,
Whatever.
this came.
I'm still working on Hidden Color 6. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you, Notorious, things. One of the issue with foundational Black American, just the term.
And maybe he had good intent because it was like, hey, how do we separate when it comes to reparations and being able to say, hey, this belonged to the Black slaves that came to America and their descendants. And I get that. I get and understand that concept. But what it does, it furthers this idea of separation.
Really?
And I think back again to childhood and the stuff that even as an adult, like, I'm not African. I'm anything but African, right?
But y'all were the ones telling us we weren't African. We were Akatas. Yeah. I mean, come on now. People were telling us we were Akatas. People were othering us.
Indian in my blood. I'm Creole.
Which many of us are, and many of us do have indigenous ancestry. That's real. That's traceable. It's kind of hard to trace back some of the African stuff, but I digress.
Anything but African. And so when you say foundationally Black American, it's like, yes, I can say I'm foundationally Black American and I am not you. I'm like, no. Because like my father used to tell me, I don't know what all these fuss is about. They are the same people. You guys are brothers.
Oh.
At Hootsuite, we help organizations unlock the value of social media, and 70% of customers start seeing that value in the first week.
No, y'all parents weren't saying that now. No, y'all parents weren't saying that. Y'all parents was like, hey, stay away from the Akata. Stay away from those niggas. Oh, they weren't.
And then like, my dad said, y'all, bro, man, we ain't your brother. We ain't African booty scratchers. No, but we look alike. No.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Okay. All right. Hey, man. Hey, bro. Now, hold on. No, we heard all that Akata talk. We heard all that Akata talk now. No. Listen. Let's go deep. Listen. A lot of people like that, to be honest, the real reason they don't like the term foundational Black American, that destroys the whole generic Black hustle. A lot of people are comfortable saying, oh, we're all just Black when that vagueness benefits them. The second we start saying foundational Black American, the vagueness disappears. Ain't no vagueness no more. Now lineage, history, and a specific group identity has to be acknowledged. That matters because a lot of people have been able to slide into places built by us and speak over us and then compete with us and then still claim equal ownership over the legacy of Black America. See, people have been just pillaging our damn legacy. When we say foundational Black American, that shuts all the bullshit down. All right? See, we done cleaned up a lot of stuff here. We're saying, no. We are specific people with a specific historic foundation in the United States. We ain't doing all that vague stuff no more. And it's vague when it's convenient. And let's be real, the term foundational Black American, it demands respect. And I talked about this before. When you use the term foundational Black American, the term, just saying it, commands respect. You understand? And you got to respect the people who you were taught to disrespect. For a long time, Black Americans, we were treated as the default punching bag of the Black world. Everybody would mock our foundational Black American accents, mock our culture, mock our slang, mock our history, mock our struggle. Yet you still consume the music, the style, the politics, and you consume the influence. So the term foundational Black American.
So I only probably got like 10 or 15 minutes left, and to depend on the response, I may hit y'all a little bit later this evening with a double header. But yeah, so when the people are saying, oh, they would clown the accents, they clowned our accents, the way we pronounce things, the way we couldn't pronounce things, things where people were talking about VCR, even the vernacular, which they call AAVE, I call BAVE, right? Or FBAVE, right? The things that people say, that ain't what you're supposed to say, like a word like ain't, is supposed to be aren't, right? But now you hear white folks and a bunch of other people of non-melanated hues saying the same words, and things that people will say, well, that ain't English, speak English, but you understood what I said. So Ebonics is a language in itself. Now, I'm not promoting using Ebonics in every situation, but when we're casually talking, then yes, that is a codified language in itself. And many people that denigrate it and ridicule it, they often participate in it. Things, a foundational Black American level of Ebonics that you understand are words like finna, right? And it shortens a multitude of words and puts it into one, rather than saying, I'm about to go to the store, I'm finna go to the store. Or what are you going to do? Man, what you finna do? You know what I mean? So people understand these words, and while they say, oh my God, I'm triggered by you using these type of terms. Now, if you're speaking in a professional setting, you want to get a job, that's where people code switch. The people who can't code switch is just because, maybe they don't need to, or maybe they are, do have a low level of intelligence, right? But not everyone needs to be an Einstein. It's some people that are grammatically incorrect, but can fix your car and could build an engine from top to bottom. Do they need to be speaking like a Rhodes Scholar to fix your car? I would say no. So let me play a little bit more of the video so I can get ready to shut her down.
It interrupts that disrespect. It forces people to you now got to recognize that we're not some rootless generic mass. We are distinct.
Oh, shout out Miss Jackie. Jackie, no, where was your grandmama from? And even with the grandmama, if your grandmama, she probably used to say VCR, like, give me that tape, baby, from the VCR. You probably had a grandma. Hey, drop in the chat. What's a grandma name? They don't have those grandma names no more. Now the grandma names just be like, I don't know, like whatever pop culture is. I know people was naming their daughters stuff from Game of Thrones, like Arya, or what's the other girl, Daenerys or something, right? But a grandma name is Gwendolyn. Hey, baby. Grandma Gwendolyn. Gretchen is one. Mabel. Or, they a real grandma if they got two names, Mabel Ann, Emma Sue. And I knew a homegirl from Missouri, and her name is Sarah Beth. Shout out to Sarah Beth, right? And I remember one time I called her Sarah, and she just looked at me politely and said, my name's Sarah Beth. So yeah, some people don't play about their names. If they got two names, you gotta say them both. Don't just, it ain't just, Emma Jean, or it ain't just Emma, it's Emma Jean. But let's get into it.
Lineage with an actual foundation in building this country that everybody wants to run to. And once you just say the term, you're already admitting that there's something foundational there. And that bothers a lot of people who's used to casually diminishing Black Americans. You see? And a lot of people, they hear the word foundational Black American and they start panicking because it ends their ability to erase the specific Black American claim. See, when people say, why are you separating? Oh, you're separating. Oh, separating. Oh, it's separatists. Oh, separate. Oh, there's a separation. What does that mean? What that means is, why are you naming yourself so clearly? I can't blur the lines no more, because the blurred lines benefit outsiders. Blurred lines let people come in and take credit for foundational Black American contributions. They can enter Black American spaces and then speak for us, speak for our political interests, and then repackage Black American culture as if it comes from some vague Blackness or some extended immigration, which is what that nigga B-Eazy tried to pull. Yeah, shout out to this award for country is going to go for the immigrants. Immigrants built America. Have a good night. So yeah, we're stopping all that stuff. We're stopping all of that. We ain't letting all of these people come.
It's funny. And like I said, Didi, and shout out to Didi. If you want to call yourself African American, go ahead. He says he hates the term FBA, and I'm an African American born in the nation's capital. Well, I hate the term African American. So you continue to identify as African American, go ahead and, say, get it tattooed on you for all I care. And we'll continue to identify as FBA. There's other people that are identifying as other things. American descendant of slaves, descendants of American chattel slavery, Sulani, American freedmen. All of them mean the same thing. It means that you have a lineage that's rooted here and you don't come from an immigrant background. You saying that you're African American is equating yourself to an immigrant. Elon Musk, South African, and he's an American. He's African American. Charlize Theron, African American. French Montana is what? A Moroccan Arab. He's African American. Cynthia Erivo, a Nigerian British woman. She comes here. She's African American. Idris Elba, another African British person. He comes here. He's African American. Akon from Senegal. He comes here. He's African American. Zoran Mamdani, an Indian born in Uganda. Check the box that he's African American. So, hey, do your thing, bruh. But it's just it's a misnomer and an erasure term. And like, do you even really know anything about Africa? Have you even ever been to Africa? And actually, Didi, why aren't you in Africa, bruh? Like, to be honest, bro, you love Africa so much. Like, bro, why are you here? FBA term is silly. Is African American is even sillier. That celebrates the foundation that a white man gave you. Who named Africa again? Africa was named by a white man, and you're calling yourself African. Why you call yourself American? It was named by a white man. Who named Africa? Who named Nigeria? A white woman. And some say that there's a myth that it was a play on words, that she really was saying, well, that's the nigger area, and they flipped the words. Now, that's speculation. You can look it up, but it sounds about right. Regardless, it's a fact. Most of those names in Africa wasn't called Africa. What was Africa called before Africa? So why won't you call yourself that? Why won't you call yourself an Alcubulon America? What was Kemet before it was called Egypt? But you'll still call yourself an Egyptian and pretend as if that's part of your culture, leaning into the we was kings trope and shit like that. Nigga, you don't know anything about Africa. And if you do, why aren't you there building up Africa, Didi? Why the fuck are you here, bruh?
In and try to misrepresent us. We draw a big, bright line. And that don't mean hatred. We ain't said nothing about hating nobody. We're getting clarity. And clarity makes appropriation harder. See, people talk this unity stuff, but they want unity that's downward. It's never upward unity. You know what that means? It's never upward unity. See, that's a hypocrisy there. See, all of that, we're all the same talk directed at foundational Black America.
So Didi, I know Didi sometimes, you know, I don't know if you be trolling or you just think you're smarter than you are. You saying you have no proof who named Africa. That would be even worse. So you're just going off of it. You know that Africa wasn't originally named Africa, but you want to call yourself African because you don't know who named it. But then you also want to call yourself African American. Won't you just call yourself African? Won't you just drop the American since you hate it so much? You hate it here, but you don't want to leave here. You're trying to, I was born in the nation's capital. Who cares? Who gives a fuck if you were born in the nation's capital, right? You don't really love America, so go to Africa, go to your motherland, Didi. I'm sure they can use your intellect, right? And your innovation. Why are you here again, bruh?
Americans, these are the same people that will identify as Nigerian, Ghanaian, Jamaican, Haitian, Igbo, Yoruba, Fulani, all that stuff.
Also, and shout out to Big Rig Slaps. I'm about to get ready to shut it down in about like the next 10 minutes. So I appreciate y'all being here. But let me just play it back and I'm going to let it ride out. But I might come back and hit y'all with a double header because it seems like it's getting attention. And Didi, you got to come back. And Didi, if you really stand on what you talking about, and that's another thing, instead of saying, because I was talking about our lingo, instead of saying, Didi, if you really want to prove what you are talking about, I will say, hey, Didi, won't you come up here and stand on what you talking about? Stand up for what you talking about. You know what I mean? You can come and get destroyed intellectually, but you know, it will be respectfully. You know what I mean? It won't be no ad hominems. It just will be a dismantling, because if these are the points that you're going to be coming with, bro, it's not formidable enough.
And a lot of people, they hear the word foundational Black American and they start panicking because it ends their ability to erase the specific Black American claim. See, when people say, why are you separating? Oh, you're separating. Oh, separating. Oh, it's separatists. Oh, separate. Oh, there's a separation. What does that mean? What that means is, why are you naming yourself so clearly? I can't blur the lines no more, because the blurred lines benefit outsiders. Blurred lines let people come in and take credit for foundational Black American contributions. They can enter Black American spaces and then speak for us, speak for our political interests, and then repackage Black American culture as if it comes from some vague Blackness or some extended immigration, which is what that nigga B-Eazy tried to pull. Yeah, shout out to this award for country is going to go for the immigrants. Immigrants built America. Have a good night. So yeah, we're stopping all that stuff. We're stopping all of that. We ain't letting all of these people come in and try to misrepresent us. We draw a big, bright line. And that don't mean hatred. We ain't said nothing about hating nobody. We're getting clarity. And clarity makes appropriation harder. See, people talk this unity stuff, but they want unity that's downward. It's never upward unity. You know what that means? It's never upward unity. See, that's a hypocrisy there. See, all of that, we're all the same, talk directed at foundational Black Americans. These are the same people that will identify as Nigerian, Ghanaian, Jamaican, Haitian, Igbo, Yoruba, Fulani, all that stuff. When they're winning, they don't erase themselves. Let them get a win. They're going to let you know that's a damn Igbo win. That's a win for the damn Igbos. They're not going to erase themselves. They preserve their own distinctions. They celebrate them. They marry each.
And you know who else preserves their own distinctions? Asian people, which is a beautiful thing because they want ethnic and cultural specificity. And of course, we've been joined by an illustrious guest, my boo, what it do in building. So before I'm gonna play one other quick video, but before I do that, let me pull this up real quick, you know, because we like to hit y'all with the scholarship. So as y'all can see right here, right? By the 1980s, the Asian American umbrella expanded to include multiple communities in the Pacific Islands. In 1978, Congress passed a resolution for Asian/Pacific Heritage Week, eventually becoming Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Then the Office of Management and Budgets, OMB, officially divided divided. Why y'all trying to separate? What's another word for separate? Divide. The OMB officially divided the Asian or Pacific Islander racial classification in its data collection processes in 1997. Nobody was calling them xenophobic or saying, you guys are one people. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you're from. Nobody was saying that. Now, some feel the term flattens the differences between Asians, Americans, and Pacific Islanders. As the AAPI umbrella continues to widen, some argue that the very different needs and issues of Pacific Islanders remain underrepresented. So what they do is they lump them under one umbrella and say, look, we will delineate. We'll delineate and call you guys Pacific Islanders. However, when it comes to dole out specific resources, they give it to people who are more viewed as the quintessential Asian, whether it be Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, etc., right? But then what about the people from Philippines and Cambodia and Thailand and, Bangladesh, etc., right? So I'm just showing you that delineation is nothing new. Everyone understands delineation. They just only act confused when it comes to foundational Black American delineation. And you have to ask yourself, why is that exactly? So let me pull up this last video and I will be ready to shut her down. And this one ain't going to be too long. So here we go.
African and Caribbean immigrants have come to this country as kids. They are really traumatized about the roasting that happens in our culture. I want you to listen to what these people have to say, especially the first lady. She's from East Africa. And just pay attention to what they're saying. Let's go ahead and roll that.
You come from Africa, no matter how poor or rich the country is, you get here and you're thinking, oh my God, I see Black people, they look like me, we're one. That's not how it was viewed, because I don't know any better at 13, 14. I'm thinking, oh my God, Black skin, these are my people. Right. And they were just like, you don't look like us, you don't sound like us, you're weird looking, you're not sitting here.
I can't blame them because that's the propaganda that's taught about Africa. And so you coming and experiencing it, you're kind of ready for it, but it hurts you because you see your fellow Black people treating your family. There's a propaganda about Africans coming here and taking people's stuff.
And honestly, I'm not trying to downplay their experiences, but many of them are lying, bro. Most of us didn't grow up around hella Africans, bro. I didn't, bro. And the ones that we did, the whole term, I got called an African booty scratcher. People be saying that. I'm like, bro, you're 18 years old. You're 21. Nobody even uses that term anymore, bro. I know my boy Roger in the chat said he was called that in the 80s, bro. I know they called me that in the early 90s, but we were calling each other that. It was a joke. And guess who came up with the term? I don't know if I have enough time to let Phil explain, but it was white people that came up with that term. And I get it. Some people internalized it and thought that, oh my God, you really hate me. But that was very mild, right? There was nobody getting lynched and dog sicked on them being called an African booty scratcher. People were getting lynched and being called nigger, though. What's a worse word to be called, a nigger or African booty scratcher, which everyone was being called? Okay, fine. It hurt your feelings. But we were also told sticks and stones may break my bones and words will never do what? They'll never hurt you. Don't they say stop having a victim mentality, get over it? Here you got people in their 50s and 60s whining and saying, I got called an African booty scratcher. Yeah, so did I. And I made it, turned out fine. This shit is getting quite pathetic to see and hear.
Yeah.
And we really work hard.
You got to keep focused. You got to push yourself. You have to prove yourself more for them to believe you, for them to know you're knowledgeable as much as everybody else.
It's still difficult trying to reconnect, the reasons why.
And they're always trying to make it seem like FBAs are the big bag boogeymans. No, Y'all can, so none of our family members said y'all better stay away from them Africans. No, we don't even have pejorative terms like that. We just recently came up with one, and that one is tether. But a tether is just no different than a homegrown sambo or raccoon. A tether is just someone that's not of the lineage that's raccooning and buffooning. That's all it is. You know what I mean? We would be calling foreign people coons, but no, it's more appropriate to call them a tether. You're tethering onto a lineage, cultural achievements, accomplishments, pretending and cosplaying only to discard it at the last moment and say, hey, I'm really not like you. People are pretending like we don't have the footage, the articles, and all of this stuff. I'm not black, I'm Nigerian. I'm not black, I'm Haitian. I'm not black, I'm Dominican. I'm not black, I'm this. I'm not black, I'm not. Why y'all call y'all selves black? Black is just a color. We've heard it over and over. It's been quite nauseating. But now they want to say they're in their 50s and act like they're traumatized because some kid called him an African booty scratcher. I bet it was some FBA they called you an African booty scratcher, and another FBA said, if you keep disrespecting my friend, I'm gonna beat you up. They don't talk about those stories of us standing up for them. And if we all one people, we're all the same. We see each other as brothers. Well, why are you trying to make a little Haiti town, right? I'm not from Haiti, so why the fuck are you trying to make a little Haiti town? Why are you trying to make a little Nigeria, a little Ethiopia? We're all minorities, so why you gotta have a Koreatown and shit? Why it can't just be a town where we all thrive to each other? But no, they ethnically delineate, right? They want to see their group in specific rise to the top. So that's fine. If we plan these games where we're competing with each other, stop lying and pretending that it's not a competition. Let's have a full competition head on. Don't try to say, oh, no, it's not a competition while you're working to undermine us and subjugate us because it's a competition, right? Because if it's a competition, then none of us should ever enter a taqueria again. Not because we hate Hispanics. It's just, hey, you're trying to build up your economic base for your specific ethnicity, and I need to do the same for mine. So don't eat a taco unless it's black owned. And then if we want to get ethnically specific, you got to make sure that it's foundationally black owned. This is not hate. This is just what y'all do. Y'all say that we're too stupid and we need to practice group economics. Okay, fine. We are stupid and we need to practice group economics. Group economics requires some level of discrimination, not discrimination based on hate, discrimination based on survival. So if there's a black owned nail shop and an Asian owned nail shop, I need to discriminate with my dollars and say, I'm gonna go to that black owned one, not because I hate Asians. It's just because they're the model minorities and they seem to be doing good. So I need to spend my money with the low IQ establishment who isn't doing so good. That would make sense, right? I need to build up this establishment, build up the IQ and this esteem of this establishment. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to have dilapidated buildings, etc., right? When you start talking like that, then people, that's reverse racism. No, that's just what you guys are doing, right? If you spend money or you get a loan from another community, you might have a higher interest rate simply because you are of a different ethnic background, and people will argue, hey, that's just smart. They're staying on code for their group, and I tip my hat to that. All I'm saying is that we need to do the same, right? If there's this whole black and brown coalition, where are the black and brown construction companies? Where are the black and brown? Where are the black and African hair shops? You'll see an African nail shop that hires other Africans, but where's the African and foundational black American nail shop? Since we're all the same, you're not all the same in your homeland. So stop pretending that we're all the same here. So I'm going to play like a couple more minutes of this and then I'm going to shut her down because I do got a hard stop. I do love and appreciate y'all. Salute.
Why you left, and for a year I just wanted to go back home, and then
not how it was viewed, because I don't know any better at 13, 14. I'm thinking, oh my God, black skin, these are my people. Right. And they were just like, you don't look like us, you don't sound like us, you're weird looking, you're not sitting here.
I can't blame them because that's the propaganda that's taught about Africa. And so you coming and experiencing it, you're kind of ready for it, but it hurts you because you see your fellow black people treating your family. There's a propaganda about Africans coming here and taking people's stuff.
Yeah.
And we really don't. We really work hard.
You got to keep focused. You got to push yourself. You have to prove yourself more for them to believe you, for them to know you're knowledgeable as much as everybody else.
It's still difficult trying to reconnect, the reasons why you left. And for a year, I just wanted to go back home. And then one of my friends was like, you're here right now, utilize this opportunity that you have. And from there, I just started to open myself up to more opportunities and connecting with a different community that I chose for myself.
Yeah.
Now, y'all, these people that's on this stage, none of them look like children. Some of them look like they're middle-aged, maybe some in their 30s or so. But it's amazing to me how you were told something when you were a teenager, maybe a little younger, by another kid in school, and you're middle-aged and still talking about it. You don't even know those people anymore. We don't even know if they dead and gone. And you still talking about something from high school. You still talking about something from elementary. You got roasted. Newsflash. I'm going to keep repeating this. Everybody got roasted. I got roasted. Okay. It's part of the culture here in America. It's just, you get roasted. It's one of those things, especially in Black culture. You say you come on and say, oh, my people. Okay. Well, you don't supposed to get, okay, if you're part of a quote unquote family, you get treated like it, right? And everybody gets roasted. Even families roast each other. Sisters and brothers roast each other. Sisters and sisters, brothers and brothers, everybody get roasted. It's part of it. We roast each other. We go in and like, all right, man, we'll get something to eat. Yeah, that's just the end of it. It's no big deal. It's no problem. But my Lord, y'all wear your feelings on your shoulders and just crying about somebody told you a name or called you, African booty scratcher. Lord, is that the worst thing to be called? I keep telling people this. I was called African booty scratcher. And at the time, I've never been to the African continent. My family's not from the African continent. My family been here, descendant of slaves. And I was called that. There was just a diss at that time period. And I told people where that diss come from. It came from them white people at National Geographic Explorer going to them village areas in the African continent, and they will be showing the people in the village dressing how they dress, and mosquitoes. There's a lot of mosquitoes in some of these places. They be biting them, and of course, if you're more skin exposed, including your booty, right? The mosquito gonna bite you there. And so, yeah, you're getting bit by a mosquito on your booty, and shoot, you're gonna scratch it. I mean, call it what it is. And that's where the diss come from. Those National Geographic videos. Black folks wasn't going to no village out there and go and capture that stuff. That was white people putting it out there and say, oh, look how primitive they are. Oh my God. Everything about the African continent was primitive, poor. That's how they showed it. And
so y'all get the gist of that. And like I said, I do got a hard stop. So I appreciate all of y'all being in the chat. The chat is chatting. So I may come back and hit y'all with a double header later on. Hopefully, hit your boy with a share, a comment on this stream so it can get boosted in the algorithm. But yeah, so I'm gonna just hit y'all with a couple visuals because I do got a hard stop and I gotta get up out of here. But I love y'all sincerely. Yeah. Hey. B-Eazy, that dude, yeah. Shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. It's a lot of niggas that say they real, but to me that shit is far-fetched. Most them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. I ride up on them with the 40 ounces. It's a definition of adrenaline rush. What he do is sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like willow pads. Grew about on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on willow pads. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. For the zip lips when you get hit. When the fifth spit, flat line in your pit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like boo-coo. For the cocaine to go cuckoo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad
bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause I'm still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on Chirac and then fly back out to Mill. When they hear me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookies to the drawer is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. When you hear me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookies to the drawer is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.
If you feel the vibe, like, share, and subscribe. We growing on this journey. Come and take a ride. If you wanna slide with that dude, B-Eazy. We going all the way to the top, believe me. All the way to the top, believe me.
B-Eazy, B-Eazy, he is that dude. It's plain and obvious. A certified professional, ain't never been a hobbyist. He is one of the nicest, realest, coldest, and dopest. So you should take notice. Woo! That dude, B-Eazy, that dude, B-Eazy, that dude. Show love and support to B-Eazy, that